There we go. Okay. So yeah, thank you very much for joining us this morning. So today we're going to talk about Business Central Insights, which is developed by a company called eKnowtion and is delivered by ourselves here at Carrier and Precision Point. So we're just going to go to that in a bit more detail, show you what the product can do, and just show you how this prepackaged reports can actually save you time and actually get you the relevant information from your system without you having to do any development internally. It just gives you a much better snapshot of your system without a lot of legwork on your side. What I'm going to do, I'm going to pass straight over to Ross today because Ross is going to go through this in a bit more detail because he's got some nice slides for us to go through. So Ross, I'll pass over to you.
Brilliant. Thanks, Adam. Morning all. Thanks everyone for joining. As I say, I'll run through some slides. Hopefully it won't be too boring because we don't like slides that much, but then I can give you a bit of a view as to what the system looks like. So a little bit of context. So we are Precision Point, as Adam says, we're a partner of Cowrie. We are a Dynamics ERP data company. We've worked with Dynamics data for 18 plus years across the globe. And very recently we've started partnering up, as Adam mentioned, with eKnowtion. And we are basically supplying their product throughout the UK, and it is a dedicated reporting platform for Dynamics Business Central. So Business Central Insights is the product name that we were looking through today. So everything we do is focused on data, focused on Dynamics, and 100% dedicated to that. So as we go through, hopefully you'll see the product that we're kind of showing you is class leading, and you'll get an idea of how it will help your organisations. Okay. So as we say, Business Central Insights, built by eKnowtion, a partner of ours, is a pre-built report set. There's 100 plus reports split across 9 dedicated apps. All of this is downloadable from within Business Central in the App Store. There's no development required on the part of the customer using the reports, although you can do some work if you do desire to do so, which we can come through. Everything is through Power BI front end, so we keep everything on the Microsoft stack, which is always good when working with Dynamics product. And I think one of the biggest things that we really like with this product is if you go out and build your own report set or data queries and then put them into Power BI, and then Business Central changes dramatically or is enhanced in any way, it's very difficult to kind of keep up with that. Through eKnowtion and ourselves, everything is updated and follows and tracks changes within Business Central to make sure that with each iteration of Business Central, no implementation changes are required on the customer's part. So you aren't having to perpetually modify and change things yourselves. Okay, so really just keeping ourselves future-proof. Now, what you get within Business Central Insights, as I mentioned, there's a selection of apps, and the apps are listed on the left-hand side of the slide here. So you've got APAR, cash flow, finance, and so on. Within each of those apps, you have multiple dashboards, and those dashboards will have a brief look at today to give you an idea as to what you're getting. You also have some visual tools to help you visualize your data and Q&A ability within the dashboard, so you can actually ask questions of your data, which can be rather handy. It does take a while of getting used to how that all works, but it's a really powerful tool that leverages Power BI and the data that sits behind it that's been built through. Okay. Now, next few slides are just giving you a bit of an idea of the breadth of what sits within this system. So if we look at finance, and I do apologise, some of these have probably got a few more reports that I haven't put onto the slides yet, but as you can see, finance, you've got a whole swathe of reports, cash flow, accounts receivable, accounts payable, etc. There's a whole bunch of reports that you can go into, and each of these is quite in depth. And again, you'll see as we go further into the slides what kind of thing you're getting. But there's a lot of content that's available within each of the apps, and you can have one or more of the apps as you see fit, or bundle up and have the entire selection if you want to look across your whole business. Again, a little bit more on sales and purchasing. Obviously, there's a bit more to look at than there may be within the top level of finance, but a lot of information relating to your customers, your items, your vendors, and so on and so forth. So a great deal of information that you wouldn't necessarily be able to pull out of Business Central. Certainly wouldn't be able to pull out of it out of the box, and something that would take you a very long time to build. Certainly the amount of work that's been put in to extracting the data and then into building the powerful kind of Power BI front end reports has been many months, maybe years of work on this. And as I say, it's kept up to date with each iteration of Business Central that is released. Again, it goes across CRM, inventory, and jobs, depending on if that's areas you use within your Business Central. But really, each part of the system, there are some quite deep dive elements that you can go and pull out of Business Central Insights. Now, a couple of example dashboards, again on slides, and then I'll just give you a very quick overview on screen. This is a basic income statement. I say basic, not very basic to be fair, but this is your income statement. You are going to be set up with a whole bunch of drop-down selectors, so you can look at various periods, look at trending. You've got variances that are built into the reports. As you can see on the screen, there's a lot there. All of this can be filtered, as you can see on the right-hand side. You can filter by account and so on and so forth. And each of the reports that are put together, they're obviously based on your own data. They're based on the Business Central structures. We're going to pick up things like your account totaling levels, etc. We're going to pick up all of your dimensions, so your global and shortcut dimensions, and make them visible to you. So how you really need to report on your business is at your fingertips and in a much more granular level than you would get out of Business Central directly, but with also a lot of enrichment in that data. Okay, so that's just an example of an income statement there. Again, bit of sales comparison. Again, as you'll see, there's a kind of theme with all of the dashboards that, as well as the visualizations and the numbers that you've then got the ability to filter and to select various drop-down members, so you can drill into the data a little bit further. And again, everything's graphically represented using Power BI's capabilities to give you a much richer reporting experience that you would necessarily get elsewhere. As we mentioned, to build something like this out yourself would be a fairly large project. This is something that you can basically install, implement, download within a matter of minutes and be off and running. Again, here just showing you some of the capabilities of what's been put together in Power BI. You can see the maps on there. There's a lot of these things that can be done if you're familiar with Power BI, but they all need to be driven by a cohesive data model, which is the real big chunk here. So there's really two sections of what you get within these products. One is the data that's been put together, and two, as I say, is the front end and how that data is served up to you and deployed across your organization. Okay. This is the Q&A. So if you're within one of the dashboards and you go into the Q&A section, you can basically put up a text entry box, and you can ask the report, show item sales and item profit, as you do here, by date hierarchy as a matrix. Now, as I say, I don't tend to hide things on here. There's a little bit of getting used to the terminology when you use the Q&A, because the system needs to interpret what you're saying, and all natural language query programs are a similar thing. You just need to really focus on certain keywords. But once you've learned that, which is pretty simplistic, you can then go into any of the dashboards and basically get data focused by asking it a question, which is kind of a nice thing. So there's a couple of the questions at the top, as you can see, are kind of pre-built for you. So you've got some questions that the system generates that are pretty cohesive things that you may wish to ask without having to go in there. So again, it's all at getting your data as simplistically as you can, whilst giving you the relevant data that comes out of your system that's been put into that easy to digest format. Okay. Now, as I say, the whole crux of this is that it's a fast implemented, really quite powerful reporting system. The Power BI front end of the reports can be customized, be that by Precision Point, the Carry team, or by yourselves if you have Power BI expertise. If you don't want all of the filters on there, don't have to have them. If you don't want all the drop downs, again, you don't have to have them, and you can manipulate the graphics, etc., as you see fit. The data that sits behind that, remains as is. So that's why you can kind of, to a degree, play and customize on the front end. Now, in terms of how this is delivered, as I say, you can download very quickly and have them installed. We also suggest an initial training on how to use the pre-packaged reports that we usually bundle up with these tools. It's around 2 hours of work done through sort of WebEx type delivery, just to show people how to navigate, how to use the front end of Power BI, because not everyone's obviously familiar with it. After that, you can go off and play. You can always ask us for further advice, but realistically, you can get up and running a lot faster than you would with any other tool on the market so far as we've ever seen. No complex projects and no hidden costs. It is what it is. Realistically, it's very quick to deliver. Now, at this stage, I'm just going to minimize and just bring up on the screen somewhere here. Okay, so this is Power BI, and as you'll see, these are the apps that we've talked about to some degree. If I just go into one of the apps, I'll just open up Sales Insights. Do excuse the speed. I'm on a slow internet connection at home, connected through a VPN into someone else's system, with demo data, so it does take it a second to get there, and it's obviously doing it quite a bit. Once you've got the report up, this should then mimic what we've just seen on the slides. And let's just say I want to go into a sales overview, click on my sales overview. that will ping up, it'll load itself. And as we sort of looked at just now, we've got a whole bunch of filters we can apply. We can look at the current year, for example, or we can look at previous year, have members together. Everything will be interlinked within these dashboards, so you can effectively navigate as you want. I can zero into a month if I see so fit to do so. So if I want to look at May, there's my specifics. And even then you can start filtering as you mouse over. You've got tooltips that give you more information about what you're looking at, etc. As I say, part of this is the learning curve as to finding out what exists within the system, how to use it, and so on and so forth. But really, again, there's a lot in here. There's a lot to show you within obviously a short time. So this is just to give you a bit of a flavour of the kind of level that you've got. That's just one of the sales reports. If I come back out again and I go into, for example, purchasing, and want to look at things like vendor performance, I can go in and find that. And again, it's all built to make it easy for your business to go and find that data that would not necessarily be easy to get at or obtain from within the source system. So there we go, purchases by vendor. Let's just open that up, and I can just see what I've purchased, who I've purchased. It's listed here, in ascending order, so I can see who my biggest guys are. Gives my total percentages, etc., things like that. And you can see again, has that gone up or down versus prior periods, and so on and so forth. You can also, as it says there, right click on there and you can drill into detail and then go and find further information relative to what you see on screen. So just to give you a quick flavour of how that might look on the screen, but hopefully you're kind of getting the idea from what we're providing for something that you can effectively download and install within literally minutes, be trained on within a couple of hours in terms of what content there is, how to navigate and play with the data, and you've really got a view across any area of the business you want, as I say, and you can have this in any of the apps that you require. Or across all of the apps as a bundle to give you a much broader view of your business central insights data. Okay, so I'll just go back into here, and then I shall get back to the right slide. Do apologise. It's always good. I should have put show from current slide. Everyone likes to see slides twice. As I said at the start,
like to see them twice, Ross. Yeah, thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah, brilliant. So I'll get through, and there we go. So at this point, I'll hand back to Adam and let him run through, and then we'll take questions if there are any at the end.
Well, I think probably now's a good time to just do questioning before we go through costings and stuff like that. Does anyone have any questions on what Ross has just shown and about the capabilities of what the tool can do? I mean, it sounds quiet. So if not, okay, that's fine. Well, what we'll do, obviously, we're going to share the recording of this at the end. So if there's anything that you weren't sure about or you wanted to go back on, I will share the recording at the end of the session. So I'll email that across and you can review that at a later time. Obviously, if there are questions that you think of later as well, please contact either myself or Ross, and we will be happy to advise you with those. Much like the Business Central SaaS pricing, so obviously at Carry Solutions, we only deal with Business Central in the cloud anyway. So all the pricing is done based on a monthly basis. And they can be broken down by packages or by individual areas, or you can do bundles at the bottom as well, which can include multiple areas. So if you're going to get more out of the system by having an operations or a finance bundle, you can have all of those for one dedicated price. Or if you're only particularly interested in finance, and you could just specify finance. The standard and premium pricing is separated by the type of license you have. By the amount of people in your team. So much like your costing for your licenses, if you've got 10 or less users, you'll be on the pricing on the left. And if you've got 11 or more, you'll be on the pricing on the right-hand side. Next slide for me, please, Ross, as you're driving. Up until next Friday, so running for the next week, there is a special offer on. So we're offering a 30-day free trial on the app so that you can actually have a go and go away and play with them with your actual data and see if that will be beneficial for you to use. Traditionally, there is a 2-hour setup and training session cost of £250, but we're going to waive that and part of the obviously the trial that we're offering. So if this is something that you are interested in, please let us know in the next week or so. We'll get you signed up as part of this trial, and then we can get you using it, as Ross said, pretty quickly within minutes. And once you're up and using it, then you can see just the value that will add to your system and how reporting becomes so much easier. That's it from us in terms of information today. That's the end of the presentation. Are there no questions?
I've got 2 questions, if that's all right.
Yeah, I've got Richard, please go ahead.
Do you need a Power BI license as well as the app license to view the dashboard?
Yes. Yeah, you need Power BI Pro licenses, which you'd have to supply yourself on that because they don't come as part of the package.
I can tell you for now, Power BI Pro license is £7.50 per user per month. And you'd only need it for the users that were going to actually use it. So you wouldn't need it across the whole of your environment. It would just be for the individuals that are going to run the reports.
Okay, second question. So does, if somebody has, say, that Power BI license, but do not have a Business Central license, could they view the dashboards?
That's a good question.
That's
I
very
believe,
interesting.
yeah.
I like that. I'd imagine that they
That's
probably
the
would.
issue we have, where people need to see like inventory reports and things in the sales team. They don't really need Business Central access. So that would be tremendously useful. So I don't know if it would like that.
So Dejan's just popped in the chat, yes. So Dejan's from eKnowtion, who developed the actual tool that we're talking about here, and he's just put yes, they can. So yeah, so they would just need the Power BI license. Obviously, they wouldn't be able to make any changes in Business Central, but they could report on that data, Richard.
Oh, excellent, thank you.
But no problem. Was there any other questions? Yeah, okay. Well, I mean, so that's that then. Obviously, that's what we just wanted to show you today, just to show you how good this tool is, how quickly you can be getting much better reporting and much more useful information from your system, ready for any meetings that you may have or any sort of reporting needs that you do have. So I will go ahead and I will share this recording shortly. If there are any questions, please let me know. And as we say, the offer that we're running, which is the 30-day free trial with the 2-hour setup and training session with no costs, runs for the next week and a half. So if you are interested, please let us know. We'll get you set up and you can start working on that shortly. Any follow-up questions, please do get a hold of me. You've got my details, so please let me know. But I do appreciate your time this morning. So thank you everyone for attending.
Thanks all.
Thank you very much. Have a lovely day.
Appreciate your time. Thanks everyone. Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye.